Over the summer term, we will track Ruth, aged 11, and Beverly, 5, who have recently arrived from the Philippines with their families. They are starting at a primary school in Shropshire.
We've got two new arrivals in school from the Philippines. Their parents contacted me about 2 months before they wanted the children to come to England. The parents are working in a residential home in Minsterley, and they wanted their children to come to England and to join our school.
The teachers realised after the first week that the girls are understandably very homesick. The school's main focus, therefore, will be to allow them time to adjust to life in the UK.
Umaga naglalakad po kayo punta dito. Napakalamig po.
I'm thinking that Beverly won't agree that I'm going to leave her on her first day. But she's all right. I said, are you all right?
You can leave me now.
Yeah, he said, yeah, I'm all right. Because if she get a playmate, she's all right. Even she don't know anybody there.
Our dream is to finish their studies and to be somebody in the near future. So, may mahirap ang buhay. Lahat ng nahirapan na naranasan naming hirap, gusto ko ayaw ko ipadama sa mga anak ko. That's it.
Morning. Bye-bye. Unang-una po kasi dito, para pong mas malaki school nila. Tapos po, mas high-tech po yung ginagamit po nila dito. Tapos po yung mga estudyante dito, unti lang po, mga 25.
Ruth's used to classes of up to 50 pupils. The school knows that class size here will allow time for the girls' transition.
Now, we're going to go into assembly, and we're going to do this quietly.
Para pong speechless po pag nung unang dating ko po dito. Samantala pong dun sa Pilipinas, ang gulo-gulo ko po.
Ruth's arrival has coincided with the SATs, so the schools decided to put her in a Year 5, not a Year 6 class. This should help her settle in and give the school time to assess her level of learning.
One of the worries that we might have is that in the children trying to learn English very quickly, they're then getting behind in the level of their learning. So we're trying to make sure they're learning as much as we can in a language that they understand. But what we have found with both of them is that they're both very bright girls, and they're picking things up very, very quickly already in the few days that they've been with us.
He took one last look at Butch before running back to the kitchen. There, instead of going back to his hiding place...
Having a go at a hymn is fine, but understanding the moral of a story told in English is obviously more challenging for the girls.
From that time on, Butch never bullied anyone.
In reception, lessons are not as literacy dependent, so it's a lot easier for Beverly to feel part of the class. Ruth has a far more challenging start to her science investigation lesson.
Runaway car crash drama. What do you think it's about?
A car crash.
You've got it in one. It's about a car crash. David Willis, 71 of Trelawney Road, said he acted on pure instinct when he deliberately drove through bollards to warn people he could not stop.
Ruth is used to a more formal textbook approach, so it's difficult for her to take part in the regular open-ended discussion and classroom exchanges.
it might slow him down. But this might give us a clue as to what we're doing this morning.
You were the first person I noticed when we came in from Wake Up Shake It that was sat beautifully.
Teachers ensure that the girls are naturally included in all class routines.
Listen, I'll see if you can go for a drink really quickly. Sophie, Emily, Beverly sat beautifully. Would you like to go and get a drink?
Since the children have arrived, we've actually found that their language skills are better than we initially expected. Certainly Ruth, who's in year 6, can understand, but because she's quite shy anyway, it's very difficult to assess whether it's the shyness that's stopping her speaking or whether it's just the fact that she has difficulty speaking at all.
We've got a problem. George.
You should drop the washers down.
Drop the washers down.
Put the finger on the car and then drop it down.
When Ruth came to look around, she was very nervous and she was very shy. And I remember the head teacher said to her, well, would you like to just say something before you go? And she said, the school is very beautiful. And that was about all that we could get out of her. How can we make a car go slow? So that's a good investigation.
Break time brings a chance for Beverly and Ruth to talk in their main home language, Tagalog. Nearly 200 languages are spoken in the Philippines. Fortunately for the girls, their families speak the same one.
What we need to do, Kim, is to establish which of the lessons that Ruth will be joining your class for. Because at the moment, obviously, she's with Tony with the year 5s. But once the SATs are out of the way, we need her to be spending as much time in your class as we possibly can, so that she gets used to being with her peer group that she'll be going to the secondary school with.
Right.
So what can we do?
Well, we've got swimming after
Okay.
SATs, there's sex education, there's our residential visit at the end of the year.
That's right. I've already spoken with parents about that. They're keen for her to go along.
Are they?
And that would be a really good bonding exercise for her.
And I think she'd need to sort of know me before she comes away for a week
yes.
with me,
Yeah.
which would be important for her as well.
Yeah. All right. OK, thanks, Kim. Cheers. Thanks.
The very first problem is they have no friends here. They cannot approach the other students, the other classmates, because they cannot speak English well. It's hard for them to express themselves because they cannot communicate very well.
And they are confused if they speak well, or others could understand them or not, if they're going to speak in English.
Kakaiba po yung kakaiba po itong lugar na to. Tapos po yung mga bata po dito, hospitable po, gano'n. They are so friendly.
Hello, that's it. Oh, pleased to meet you.
Would you like to sign it for me?
Certainly.
Initially, I contacted the Shropshire Multicultural Development Service and asked for advice and support. And they said that as soon as the children start school, they'll be able to come out and perform an assessment with the children just to find out exactly what their levels of English were. So that would be support probably in the class.
Mariam begins her assessment by sharing some stories in Ruth's home language.
Can you read that?
Noong matagal na, sa Katimugang China.
She then begins a written observation during the science lesson group work. The speed of the conversations and the local accent make practical group work the most challenging environment Ruth has faced. But teacher Tony Davis will make sure she has a chance to contribute.
How would the corrugated...
It would act like speed bumps to make it slow down.
What could you put on the car to make it go slower?
Some stones or...
Some stones, some big rocks. Right, do you want to put down this idea? She thinks to put some big, heavy rocks in the car.
Now or day.
Emily, where does it say I? Can you remember? Good girl, well...
For Beverly, the regular literacy strategies are an ideal way to pick up English.
What does cook begin with? Who can remember the action? Good girl. Cook for cook. Cooking. And who likes cake? You like icing. Do you like cake, Beverly?
No.
You don't like cake? What do you like?
Rice.
You like rice? Yeah. So you say, I eat rice. But I'd say, I eat cake.
They're both lovely girls, and they're obviously really well settled into the school. I'm really quite amazed, particularly with Beverly in the reception class.
Hook, Alex. All day. Let's read it.
Coming in at reception is always much more advantageous than coming in at year 6, because there's so many key visuals around the classroom and so much practical work. Ruth actually said quite a compound sentence to me about science in the Philippines, that she hasn't experienced practical work in a group like that very much, but they had done some experiments, mostly with electronics was her actual phrase. But what I liked was both children are working in groups with pupils who can provide an excellent role model of spoken English. They've not been put with the special needs, the lower ability group, which sometimes is the case, and we have to actually actively promote that these children, although they have less oral language, they are intelligent children. They've probably done this curriculum but in their home language.
Ruth, you had a very good idea. What was your idea?
Big heavy stones to go into the car.
It sounds a good idea, doesn't it?
It's really good to set up like a home link book where messages can be written down that perhaps the other children will have just had orally, but the children may not have actually understood them correctly. So
With the assessment complete, Marion recommends that a specialist support teacher will come in once a week.
Ruth, what else does the ramp do?
It could be that Ruth doesn't understand the lesson, her shyness, or simply the lack of vocabulary that prevent her answering the question.
Okay, anything else?
We put the 2 pencils on the car.
This is the main problem for any teacher to discern.
Mas hindi po nakakalito yung mga subject nila.
Okay.
Litong-lito po ako dun. Ang hirap po ang pinag-aaralan.
Okay.
Do you know that one? What? Yung favorite subject mo dito?
Math po.
Ano yan? Anong favorite mo?
Ano po, binulong niya lang po sa akin yung math. So, sabi ko na nga ba eh.
Do you know the letter's name?
I?
J. It's the sound of J.
The school's policy so far has been to prioritise their social needs, settle the girls in, make constructive homeschool links and plan from there. In part 2, we return at the end of term to see how and whether things have changed for Ruth and Beverly.